Hi, this is Dario. Welcome back to my channel, Motley Reads. 28th of February. Time flies. I don't know, where these last 2 months did go. Already 28th of February, and it's already. I think it's already 2 weeks since I published my last video. So it was really, really on time that I get back to you and give you an update on what is going on. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what I read during February. Not much, unfortunately, and what I will be reading in March. In February, it's Black History Month in the US, and what I try to do in February is to read a couple of books on the from the African American or African Caribbean perspective, written by or about people of color, if you like, I plan to read a couple of books there. I read less than I planned, but still some of them. I read two books there during February event, and the first one is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. And James Baldwin is, some of you that follow me know that it is one of my favorites. I really love James Baldwin's writing style, both in fiction and non-fiction. He was a unique voice in both literature and as a political figure in a political movement. Fighting for human rights, really, in America. And this book, it came out as a motion picture recently. I didn't watch the movie. I will watch it at some point. Unfortunately, or sure, I'm going to get disappointed like so often when I watch movies based on books that I love, and I really love this book. It is a book about a teen couple, Tish and Fonny. They are waiting a child. And the Fonny, the boy is accused of rape and imprisoned, and this book is about the family's fight for justice, while retrospectively weaving in the history of their relationship, really from childhood until these events take place here. And the writing here is in first person. It is written from Tish's perspective. Now it is not very often that male authors take first person female perspective in a novel where you have lots of characters, both male and female. And Baldwin did it here. He did it very well, like he always does, and it is written in a very contemporary style. It feels very modern. It is written, I think it's published sometime in 70s, and it should be looking back in the 50s and 60s, I think. It is published in 1974, and it is very rich with dialogue, but also with the sections when he has general observations of human interplay and human nature and the creation of the characters in such a sharp-sighted way that he has. He's also using general themes and general figures in literature in a way that is not like kind of just done because you need to have these elements in a book, but because want to really say something with them. I'm thinking, take for example sexual intercourse, for instance. It is in books. It is very hard to find a contemporary novel that doesn't contain a scene, you know, a sexual scene, really. And in many books, you know, quite graphic ones, and you know, the books might not even necessarily be about a relationship, but these scenes are there. These scenes, in my opinion, in, you know, 90% of cases are, you know, kind of with pornographic intent, you know, because they should be there, because, you know, readers expect them, because they are there to kind of, you know, arouse some feelings in the readers. They are there because, you know, editors and publishers, they want them to have there, because you know, sex sells. And they have written, sometimes they are just, you know, blunt. It's like, okay, then this happens, boom, 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 because you have two characters, and at some point, you know, they need to have, you know, sex, and then you know, they have it shortly. In some cases, it's very, very elaborately described. Sometimes you have it only once because it has to be there, but sometimes you have it there repeated times, and it can be, you know, everything just from you know, very kind of, you know, romantic type of sex to you know, very, very sick type of sex. You know, this whole spectrum. And on the romantic side, you have, you know, this stuff like, you know, Sidney Sheldon's books and so on. And then on the sick side, you have Michelle Houellebecq and Bret Easton Ellis and so on, where you really wonder, you know, if everything is okay in these authors' heads. And in case of Houellebecq, I'm not really sure that everything is okay in his head. So in all the cases, every time I see that, I just, you know, it's like it kind of disturbs the picture. I don't see it as necessary there. I see it just as a porn scene in the middle of everything. I don't need it there. However, here there are two such scenes, and the sexual scenes, and but they are there to really say something about characters. For instance, one of these scenes, it is coming quite early in the book, or just before the middle of the book, is a scene of when Tish and Fonny first time have sex, and it's first time for her. And it is described in a way that for the first time ever I read such a scene, and I really felt it was, you know, there was a meaning with it. It was extremely beautiful. It was very, very clear that there is no pornographic intent in it. And the meaning with the scene was to really get you to feel their love, the origin of their love, to feel, you know, how strong they feel for each other, to feel that it is, I would say, not passion, but you know, devotion to each other, it was fantastically strong scene. And this is, you know, typical James Baldwin to me, because there is no technique, no kind of, you know, standard theme or tool that he's using just because it is supposed to be used. It is used because there is, you know, for a certain purpose, for you as a reader to get something out of it, to tell you something about characters, and to wake a feeling in you about the characters, and to get you to feel how they feel. So this is, you know, just a fantastic way of his how he writes. There are several characters here. You have Tish and Fonny, of course, and then you have their family. You have these tragic dad characters. You have really these very special mom characters and their siblings, and then there are, you know, in the backdrop, all these people, you know, the police officer who really, you know, gets Fonny into the prison, and you have a lawyer, and you have a lot of people around there, but you know, Fonny and Tish, they are in a centerpiece of it. The context of the whole thing, and the theme of the whole thing is really it is really a book about class. And it's a book about the racist society in America, and a racist legal system in America, where you really see that okay, at least as it's portrayed in the book, it's never said right out, but you feel that he is kind of innocent. It is never said. It's never said that he didn't do it, or you don't know, but you feel that he's innocent. There is not enough proof there. It is also. He's arrested by a racist cop who has killed a black child just before, but still you feel that kind of it's done deal. There is no way actually that he's gonna make it out. You get that feeling from the beginning, because the system is such that it's hopeless, and they fight for justice here is more like a mourning process than really a fight for justice, and it is really it touches you deeply, and when you realize how hopeless situation an African American young man gets into when he gets arrested, accused of doing something, regardless if he done it or not. It's like it's done deal. That's the feeling you get from it. And this is okay. This is 50s, 60s, written 70s, but you can see from the recent events, it is today. It seemed to be the same. So this is this systemic racism is a context of the book, like in so many other works written by James Baldwin. And my second book that I read here is about this systemic racism, but I didn't want to read anything about African American situation. I wanted to take a European perspective to it. So what I read is this book by Renee Edolodge. The name of the book is Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, and it is about the issues that the people of color, and in general widely people that have immigrated into Western Europe, and especially people that are not of kind of Western culture, the systemic racism that these people are experiencing, it is from the UK perspective, so it's not general European thing, but it's UK thing, and I think it is very, very little dialogue about it. In Sweden, when we talk about racism, we talk mostly about what is happening over there in the US. They're so racist, they are so crazy stupid. They don't understand that all human beings are equally worth. But here we have quite similar situation, but we don't really want to realize that. And this is one of the things that is clear here, that the people of African Caribbean origin who live in Britain, they face police brutality in a similar way like in the US, inequality, the widespread poverty. There is no level playing field. All the statistics suggest that you basically need to be twice as good for half of the result, and it is quite strong text. It is like a debate book. She's pretty young, London-based, award-winning journalist, writing very, very good way, very strong arguments that are backed up with facts, and she's taking several perspectives on these problems, starting with history of the especially African Caribbean people in the UK, and then and diving into different themes linked to this systemic racism that not only African Caribbean people but all immigrants are subjected to in the UK. She's talking about the system as such. She's talking about white privilege, about the fear that whites feel for people of color, so to say. She's covering feminism, she's covering class issues. So she's kind of unpacking this issue in several different steps. And there were lots of things here that were really that I don't see very much talked about and written about in press. For instance, here in Sweden, the issue of white privilege, for instance. What is that? White privilege. Everybody's talking about it, but what is really meant with that? And she's covering white privilege. White privilege is about as it sounds, that it's not level playing field. It's you as a white, you are privileged, and you have a special treatment everywhere you go. So what you as a white person should do, how you should approach it, is not like saying, oh, I'm not a racist, and being a non-racist. You should be actively anti-racist. So basically, fighting the system. Instead of just passively standing by and refusing to participate in the system. So they are basically two very, very different things. And when you think about it, it's like for example, in Nazi Germany, why Nazis were able to do such horrible things against Jews in Germany. It was partly because Nazis are who Nazis are, but partly, and maybe even to a larger part, is it's not because the other people who are not Nazis. It is because the people who are not Nazis, they were not anti-Nazis. They were not basically to enough large extent fighting against Nazis. They kind of were silent bystanders, accepting what is going on. And this is basically what she's saying, that okay, now what the white people in general are basically doing, they are not okay. They are not participating in racist assaults against black people, but they are not really helping actively. So that's one interesting perspective. Another interesting perspective she's taking up is the feminist question, and this is something at least in Sweden I've never really come across that somebody have taken this up. She's saying that basically the feminist question is a white women's question, and it is consuming all oxygen in the space where we are trying to create an equal society. So that question alone, it's all about equality between women and men, and especially white women and white men, and everything else is just secondary. So and when she tried to make a discussion about getting into that gender perspective, even not getting into equality perspective, not only gender, but race. She's basically quite aggressively pushed out by feminists from that discussion, and what she's also turning against it when it comes to in Britain and I think here in Sweden, everywhere, feminists and far right, they get really common ground when they are about to criticizing patriarchal structures that are coming from foreign countries, from Middle East and so on and so forth. But here, feminists are really running far right's errands, and instead of basically being there fighting for equal rights, they are basically as she called them, it's a feminist wing of white privilege, so to say. That was quite interesting perspective on it all. Very interesting read that I would recommend, especially to people in Europe who are very engaged into Black Lives Matter and pointing finger at the US. Take a read and think about the society we here in Europe live, and think about what we can do actually to change things around here. So these are the two books I read as a part of Black History Month. Now, what I've been also reading during February, I've been reading lots of work-related stuff, lots of other things, magazines and so on. I wasn't really in for reading novels very much, but what I did, I followed actually and the Dante School run by Tom of LA Books, which is basically a read-along of Dante's Divine Comedy. And I'm reading this. Tom is publishing a video for every canto of Divine Comedy, and I'm reading. I'm reading the Swedish translation and looking at the fantastic pictures by Gustav Doré in this English translation, and then I'm watching Tom's videos to get into deeper meaning. And boy, you know, he is very knowledgeable. So I'm learning a lot. So having him as a guide is really really a privilege. So I'm enjoying this very much. In March, what I will be doing, I will participate in March of Mammoths. And in March of Mammoths, I'm going to read actually two mammoths that I already have started, but I put them down, but I'll pick them up. The first one is The Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I picked this book up during Christmas break. But I started reading it, but I lost interest quite quickly. Then I started reading something else. I read lots of other stuff, and I forgot about it. So I will get back to it. It's a beast of 900 pages. But you know, my objective is to read it through March. And Bleak House, you know, some people say it's their favorite Charles Dickens novel. It is, as I said, also quite a complex novel. So I'm really looking forward to get through it. And the second one is this one, by Frans G. Bengtsson, Röde Orm. And English title of this book is Long Ships. And it is an adventure book about a Viking called Orm, who is you know, being a Viking, traveling around in West and East, and in times where in times of Vikings, about the year 1000, when Scandinavia was christened. So and this is a modern classic written during 40s, and it is very entertaining book. And this is a good prelude for the April event that I will be participating in and actually co-hosting, and that event is a sagalong. So it's, you know, flying in with this Viking stuff into sagalong. It's I think it's a pretty good thing. This one is not 800 pages. Actually, the qualification level for the book to come into being a mammoth is 800 pages. So this one is, you know, 900, and this one is 600 in this edition. But you know, sue me. So these two for March of Mammoths. So this was what I wanted to talk about. And then the last thing I would like to mention, actually, before we finish, I watched a video yesterday on the channel Books I'm Not Reading, where Kelly, who runs the channel, it's a great channel that I follow, both Kelly's channel and her husband Jason, Old Blues Chapter and Verse channel. And Kelly was talking about a documentary that she was watching, documentary made by Werner Herzog, and the name of the documentary was Cave of Forgotten Dreams. And it was about this cave in France called the Grotte Chauvet, where scientists have found cave paintings that are 32,000 years old. And these paintings, they are perfectly preserved, because the entrance in the cave collapsed a long time ago. So these, you know, these cave paintings, they were basically encapsulated into this cave until they got discovered, and I think they said in beginning of 90s, and now they are researched, and they look really fantastic. And she was talking about that documentary. I thought, oh, this sounds really interesting. I need to find this. So I found this documentary online. I watched it, and it was, wow, it was really great documentary. Great documentary, and the great thing about the the Grotte Chauvet. So I looked through my archaeology section in my library, and I found this one. It's one of my favorites when I was studying archaeology some years ago. I bought this book. It's called Europe Before Rome, a side-by-side tour of the Stone, Bronze and Iron Ages by T. Douglas Price, and it's published by Oxford University Press. And here what they are doing, they are going through different archaeological sites in pre-Roman Europe, back to, you know, the earliest site that they go through is in Atapuerca in Spain, where it's 1.3 million years ago. First humanoids operated there, and the next site is Boxgrove in England 500,000 years ago, and so on and so forth. And one of the sites they're going through here is Chauvet. And here, so this enables me actually to show you a couple of pictures of this fantastic cave art here. And this Grotte Chauvet, it is very, very beautiful area in the gorge of the Ardèche River in southern France. So here is the area. It is so spectacular, very, very nice. And then the cave art is really, really fantastic. Really, really fantastic. And here you can see here, this panel of horses is so gorgeous. Look at this. You feel they are in motion. Look at the artistry here. There is a perspective. There's a sense of motion. Imagine being there, just you alone with a torch. And the light from the torch is dancing, and it feels like these figures are moving. See a rhino? They had rhinos there, woolly rhino. They had lions, wild horses. And during these times, you know, Europe was covered by a thick sheet of ice. It was, you know, glacier Europe. This is during Ice Age. It's fantastic. So this is really great. I can recommend the movie. You can find it on internet. You can stream it from internet. Werner Herzog, Cave of Forgotten Dreams. Very good. And thank you, Kelly, for the recommendation, and for you that are archaeologically interested, and especially for you who live in Europe. Europe Before Rome is a really, really great book. So this is it. You know, it was like, you know, lots of different things here. For you that stayed to the very end here, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the video. See you. Bye.